A new exchange-traded fund that focuses on gender diversity began trading on the New York Stock Exchange this week. Two of the people behind that is Kristi Mitchem. First of all, good to see you. And Chris Ailman, good to see you as well.
Good to see you.
Kristi is with TheStreet Global Advisors. Chris is CIO of CalSTRS. This is an amazing idea behind a product launch here. So Kristi, let me start with you. What was the driving force here for you?
Well, I think you have to give credit where credit's due, and I think that's largely to the man right here. Chris and I were very fortunate to actually be at Milken last year talking about this issue, and we were both very frustrated by the fact that we talk about it a lot, but we really haven't seen a lot of action, and the number of women in financial services is still declining. So we said, you know what, let's think about this differently. Let's put some capital towards change, and that's really what we're doing with the SHE ETF.
Yes, it's a great ticker symbol, SHE. Now, Chris, I want to turn to you on this because what's important here is the amount of money you manage and kind of the sharp elbows that you can bring into this discussion. Why do your investors want something like this?
Well, for us as a fund, 72% of our membership is female. Our board has been pushing gender diversity for over a decade, since 2003. So it's finally an opportunity to put some money where our mouth is and back what we really believe in, which is gender diversity leads to better corporate decisions.
I know some of the data for this was drawn together by BoardEx. It is a company owned by TheStreet. There are some corporations with no female board of directors members, very few female executives. Do people feel like, Chris, do you expect to see the assets for this ETF to really explode this year?
Well, we're certainly hoping so. We think this is more than an ESG strategy, more than a niche play. We think this ETF can really play a role as sort of a core part of the portfolio. And what's so unique and different about it, I think, is that before we used to think that we'd have to give up return to invest in our values. What SHE is sort of indicating and highlighting is that there's certain values like diversity that have a return. And that's what SHE offers the investor the ability to capture.
It's a business case. It makes money because of the smart business by having a diversified leadership team in a corporation and in a board. I think they come at better decisions.
We actually ran some numbers, and some of these companies that were not diversified had worse returns. So in a way, you might be bettering your possibility if you do look at kind of the smart way to manage and potentially the smart way to make money.
Obviously you can't predict the future, but I really believe that companies that have a more diverse workforce actually make better decisions. They break group think. You don't just have a lot of people around who are from the same universities and think the same way. You get a different school of thought. Somebody asks the tough question about why should we be doing that? And like I said, I think it's going to lead to a better risk-adjusted return and have lower volatility over time.
Kristi, this has been in the news for a couple days. What kind of buzz have you gotten around it?
We've gotten tremendous buzz. Probably my favorite thing of all was getting a note from one of my colleagues at SSGA who had just been at a networking event celebrating Women's Day for the women in ETFs. And that's called WE. That organization is called WE. And she said that when she announced it, she got a standing ovation. That's competitors, colleagues, everyone standing up and really celebrating this new strategy. And in the headline of her ETF, it says, "We loves SHE." And that was probably one of my favorite things.
Chris, how quickly will you be able to see change affected? When will we get to the point where we're not talking about lack of diversity on boards, do you think?
It is very slow. And we both co-hosted a conference earlier this week in San Francisco called Beyond Talk, just to do that, to try and speed up the pace of change. We've been trying to get corporate boards in the US diverse for a long time, and the incremental is just tiny. It's just painful. So I'm hopeful this will help build some momentum. I think companies and CEOs are becoming more aware that a diverse board and a diverse workforce leads to better results.
Christopher Ailman and Kristi Mitchem, it's so great speaking with you both about SHE. Thank you.
Thank you.